Welcome to another edition of Live from the Den and the D. I'm your host, peoples-bey. Hope everybody's doing well today. I was talking to a few people just the other day, and they was asking me, where do they think mental illness come from? Do they think it's something that people are born with, or do they think it's something that developed along the way through life? And as I was telling them, I said, I think it's both. I think people are born with some mental deficiencies, but I also think people develop certain issues, mental issues, that I say, along the journey of life. Um, we are beginning to see more and more cases of mental illness issues in this country than we have ever seen before. Mental illness, we can see that in every factor of our lives. I mean, it's everywhere. But before I get into the context of what I want to talk about, I first want to salute October is being the Breast Cancer Awareness Month for all the women who's dealing with this horrific illness. I want to salute you and your courage, your struggle, and most importantly, you know, the challenges that you may be dealing with in life as far as dealing with this illness, this breast cancer illness, and the support. We ask all those that support, the people that's going through these hard times. Somebody you might know, somebody may be in your family, it may just be you. I mean, and I found out not long ago that there's 1% of men who can be affected by breast cancer. So I salute all the women's here, there, and everywhere that's dealing with this horrific illness. I pray that the great God Allah continue to bless you in your journey toward victorious victories over this thing. And I just pray that Allah touch the doctors where they can find something to deal with this cancer, because this thing here is real, and it's affecting a lot of people. Some people we know, some people we may not know, but it's affecting people nevertheless. Um, Getting back to my topic at hand, talking about mental illness, because we just had a situation here in the city of Detroit with one of the DPD's squat unit guy, Sergeant, I think his name was Moss, who was suffering from some type of degenerated issues with his back, and he called in to the unit and said he wanted to, I guess, die by police. It's a new term that they're using, and he got into a shootout with his own kind, and unfortunately, it ended in tragedy. It was hard, but I'm quite sure. I was thinking about the officers who was dispatched. I'm sorry, the dispatch to that particular situation, knowing that it's one of their own kind that if they engage in a gun battle with. Not only that, he was highly trained, and they had to go out here and perform their duties. So I salute those ones. I know it was a difficult time, but nevertheless, they was able to subdue him, and it's a part of what we're dealing with in life today. Mental illness is very real. It's very much alive. And like I said, we're seeing more and more cases of mental illness every day all around us. And people, I must say that mental illness is not a particular look. We see what we consider to be normal people every day that's not only hiding mental illness issues, but in some situations, they are hiding some very, very, very deep cases of mental illness. I don't know how people really understand, but do you know how priceless it is to be able to lay down at the end of the day and relax with a sound mind, and to be able to wake up the next day in that same state of mind with a sound mind, stress free. Unfortunately, in most cases, majority of people around the world feel that this statement is just a wishful thinking, because all the things that ones go through in life. And I'm sorry to say, to tell you that mental illness does not discriminate from race, religion, gender, age, or otherwise. It affects everyone. It only affects not no particular group of people. It affects the young, the old. You know, it affects all of us. The misfortunate. It's just something that we are dealing with in life today, because it's just so much going on in the world today to where we don't really know how to get a hold of it. But it's affecting everyone, and it affects our youth, and in most cases, the parents who are trying to raise their children the best they can. They are dealing with so much in their own life to where they They don't have time to really see what's going on with their own children. But unfortunately, sometimes it happens, and it happens so fast. And in many cases, it's too late because majority of the mass shootings in our country, as we know, is on the rise. We have close to 400 mass shootings already this year, with over 1,600 deaths and almost 4,000 victims that was victims of this particular mass shooting that we are seeing in society today. And 97% of the shooters are males up under the age of 30 to 34 years old. And they all are using some type of high-powered a weapon, high-powered guns. And ladies and gentlemen, this is all stemming from mental illness. But we got to ask the question. I mean, I at least ask the question, what is driving our youth to this point to where they have become so numb to where they can't even feel anything that's connecting them anymore to reality? I mean, they are unable to distinguish what I consider to be reality from fantasy. And in that state of mind, I mean, how can they actually comprehend the consequences of their actions? That's a deep state of mental illness that they're suffering from because it's almost as if they're up under some type of hypnosis. As I say, we can blame it on the industry, the rap industry. We can blame it on the games. We can blame it on streets, games. We can blame it on the neglect of parents. We can blame it on the drugs that we're starting to see today. But whatever it is that we're blaming it on, we fair well know that it is something that's going on in our society with our youth and some of our elders and older people as well. And if we don't get a hold on this thing, it's going to only get worse. And as they say, the worst is yet to come because they're dealing with it in so many different ways. It's something that can happen at work. In most cases, it can start with an unprofessional, unruly boss or supervisor who just constantly nagging you, or you got so much favoritism being shown to other people around. He just flat out disrespect you or creating such a hostile environment, or those other co-workers that constantly every day try to push you to your limit. I mean, mental illness, as we know, it started out very subtle and then it begins to progress. That's why you see so many incidents at the workplace. Somebody has been pushed to the strength of destruction and had just a simple mental breakdown. In many cases, they are in, should I say, in unfortunately tragic situations, because depression is nothing but just another name for mental illness. We are seeing that all around us. We're seeing our children who at school are being bullied and people who are trapped in these particular situations or these relationships that's unhealthy. And I don't know if you know it or not, but there are so many people that you may know that's trying to hide this unhealthy relationship that they've been in for so long, and with someone in the relationship is suffering from some type of mental illness and has been suffering from it from quite a long time. And as I said, when you first meet people, everybody appear to look normal, and because most people have their best behavior on until you begin to see some type of mental illness issues surface. It could be a situation or a circumstance that it was up under, and the way they responded to it, you begin to see like red flag. Oh, here we go. And it's not very long after that you see them red flags to where those particular mental issues or that behavior begin to turn inward towards you. And before you know it, you are up under some kind of, arson attack in your own home. And what a lot of people don't understand about relationships is that a controlling person who always got to be in control is suffering from some form of mental illness, irregardless as to what their position may be in life. They can be out in society amongst their peers or the people they work with, showing this beautiful persona, but when they come home, they got to have this controlling image. And there are so many people that we know that see these kind of relationships, and I've been in them for quite some time. I mean, suffering from some type of controlling environment to where we don't want you around your people. We don't want you around these people. And then when we do see them, they smile as if everything's okay. But those who don't know, when you don't see yourself or maybe the condition that you're in, It's other people who can discover the condition that you're in much more plainly than you trying to display it. There are a lot of people who see the situation, but due to the fact that you don't want to share it with anyone, a lot of people just don't want to get involved in what it is that you may be going through. And then you got to think about, when you're dealing with mental illness, even though many people, this your past lives, even though many people may have turned their lives around, praise the Lord for that, but they're still suffering, many people, from their past lifestyle, from some of the mental illness that was connected to it. That lifestyle that many people lived, many of them have lived that lifestyle, that past lifestyle, much more longer than they have been out of it. And many times they don't want to deal with the issues of it because there's too much pain. It's too much shamefulness. It's too much hurt connected to it in that particular past life, to be able to really deal with the issues of it. And that particular thing that they're carrying from that past life can cause people to suffer from mental illness. And we all had a past life. And to be able to release some of that negative energy, you got to be able to deal, because a lot of people haven't made a peace with themselves about the things that they once did in their past lives. Because if you be honest with yourself, some of that stuff that people did in their past lives was very, 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 very dark. And like I said, a lot of times, to be able to deal with the reality in which you are in now, a lot of people try to subdue it as if it never happened. And that which caused that energy to build up in you, to make them begin to develop certain type of issues. Some of them become what they call now introverts. They just go within themselves and just want to deal with society or public no more. But those are issues that people are dealing with in life. These are issues that stem from mental illness. And just like you deal with what they got now, the LBGTQ community. And again, none of these pictures that I'm showing is meant to offend or to disrespect anyone. I'm just trying to show a picture, a perspective in which a lot of things stem from mental illness. And they say there's a very high suicide rate among those in this particular community. I don't know, because I haven't did a whole lot of research, but they say due to the fact, of the mistreat and the stigma that they got to go through in society. Like I said, I don't know all the facts, but I do know that how people are treated can cause people to develop a form of some kind of mental illness issues. But I'm not saying that everybody in this particular community is suffering from some kind of mental illness. I'm not saying that by no way at all. I'm just saying that the way you treat people can have a mental effect on them that can cause mental illness down the way, down the road. So I'm not saying that, people of any particular set or group or anything, are more vulnerable to suffering from some kind of mental illness, you know. But mental illness, like I say, is in every facet of our lives and have always been in every facet of our life. It's dealing with life within general, and as you get older in life, you begin to have to experience this hardship, that pain, you dealing with the depth of this one. After a while, you begin to get more tuned, because that was the time we was growing up. Our ears was tuned to the eagle might fly, eagle fly on Fridays. What they say, I'm going to the east side, I'm going to the west side. I may even go across the bridge because I hear they get down over there. As we was growing up, that's kind of things our minds were tuned. Where it was happening at, we was there. But as you get older in life, our life began to settle down a little more. You become a little more focused in life. Your ears become tuned to death and obituary. Now here it is, you find yourself sitting somewhere just dealing with life within general, trying to make sense out of what sometimes can seem to be some uncertainties. Because a lot of people living in uncertainties. A lot of things as you get older, because you begin to find yourself by yourself. So a lot of these answers that we never really had to deal with are beginning to resurface. So now you got to find answers. So now you got to do what we should have been did. You got to go look within inside of self, because a lot of things that we have been taught along the way in life are beginning to reveal itself as if, they were all lies, as if, we have been miseducated for so long, and when you think about people who, such as myself, you have people who have been incarcerated for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. I mean, some get out, praise Allah for that. That's always a blessing to regain your freedom, and some don't. But this level of mental stress that ones go through all these years in these particular institutions, in and out, in and out, in and out, whether you know it or not, it can cause some mental imbalances. There are many ones that are suffering from some form of mental issues that came from all those years of incarceration. How can you not have some mental issues after living your life so long in abnormal environments? Because each and every day in these particular institutions, you're not only fighting for your survival to stay alive, but you're also fighting to stay sane. And that alone with inside of itself can cause mental issues. And whether we know it or not, people, sometimes they say, uh, these particular setbacks in their lives save them. And I can say I'm one who can actually say, I hate to say it, but I went through things in my life that, for a long time I couldn't admit, as far as being on drugs, as far as being in and out of prison, because we don't want to accept that part of our life that make us look less than what we try to present ourselves to be. But there was a time when I was in and out of prison. There was a time, excuse me, when I was going back and forth to prison. But I can honestly say, I think for myself that it saved me, because doing me going through these things, I was able to sit down and really get to evaluate me. Did I have some mental issues? Yeah, because I mean, dealing with this circumstance, you go through this why me thing to the point to where you begin to realize, why not me? Because now you begin to realize that you're on a journey of life. Now you begin to realize every time a rock falls, it's not going to always miss you. You begin to realize every time a phone call ring, sometimes you got to get the bit of bad news. Sometimes you got to be able to deal with how I'm gonna make it work. So then you begin to realize that if I don't deal with this thing called life as it's dealing with me, then you can lose grip of it. And you can find yourself in some of the darkest places. As a matter of fact, some people can sink down to the places called that create these entities that don't even exist. And I must always tell people that sometimes the most dangerous places to wake up in when you've been living your life so long in fantasy is in the world of reality. Because once you work up in the world of reality, then you find out that you are who you are, and you're gonna have to deal with whatever it is you're dealing with, whether you like it or not. So we got to learn how to develop some courage. Because trust me, through this thing called the journey of life, which we all are heading in the same direction. And there's a line in which we're standing in. You can't get out the line. You can't let nobody go in front of you. You can hold my spot. We all are in a line. So, we all connected to one another. So we got to realize that we got to have courage for each and every step that we take as we travel this line. And you also see a lot of mental issues that's dealing with, I've seen a lot in this issue, religion. We watch a lot of people that's dealing with religion that's suffering from mental illness issues, because this, like for many people, the last result. This is the place for many people who have tried everything and did nothing work. So now you see them gravitate toward whatever it is that their best ideal is, because a man's ideal is his God. And once you develop what your ideal is according to your understanding of God, you're going to gravitate to those who think like you think. But we see a lot of people from religious backgrounds who are suffering from mental illness. And a lot of people suffering from mental illness. And if you ever seen them go through whatever it is that they go through, many of them always quote as they going through a crisis, something biblical. A lot of people when having mental crisis, a lot of times they just be quoting scripture of some sort. And a lot of them are not being treated properly because the people that's dealing with them have not been trained properly to deal with people that's going through those kind of mental illness. And to be able to recognize this particular crisis you yourself must have compassion. And when we dealing with humanity right now, who has no mercy in them, it's going to be hard to understand deep things that people are going through in life, because a lot of times people that's trying to deal with people that's going through deep issues in life themselves are going through uh, deep issues in life as well. And like I said, mental illness is very real. And it's very much a lie. And before I get out of here, I want to ask you a question and see if I can get some cognitive thinking. Let's say if someone was to pray for patience, do you think God give them patience? Or do you think God give them the opportunity to be patient? If someone was to pray for courage, do you think God give them courage, or do he give them the opportunity to be courageous? Just like if someone was to pray to God to bring the family together, do you think God just zapped them with this warm, fuzzy feeling? Or do you think God created opportunity where they could just simply learn, if they put their selfish differences down, how to love each other? And the reason why I say that, because sometimes we have the tendency of overlooking the opportunities in our lives to be able to change our lives or our circumstances in life, because we are too focused on all the big problems in our lives. And sometimes the opportunities that we overlook are the answers we need if we take forward to them to solve our problems. See, it's not the things that we go through in life that's that important. It's the journey and how you travel it and how you deal with the things you go through in life. Because a lot of people say success is what you become. And I thought that for a lot of time. That's why I was in and out of prison, on and out of off drugs, because I thought success was what I became in life. And as a result, I became a slave to all what I thought success was. But as I went through the process, and that's what a lot of us don't want to do. We don't want to go through the process. But as I'm speaking about myself, as I went through the process, I learned that the success is life. It's not the things I become, but the things I overcome. And the things that I have overcame in life have shown me more success than anything I wish I could ever become, because the things I overcame in life has made me who God made me to be, a spirit man. Because if I continue to try to become successful, now I got to continue to try to satisfy him, her, them, and those. But the things I had to overcome in life began to let me realize that I am the one who was chose to do the work for me. So let's take advantage of the day. Let's take the opportunity out to do today to just do what Stevie Wonder did. Remember, he made a beautiful song, and he said, I just called to say, I love you. Because there's someone somewhere that we know, could even be us, that's suffering from some form of mental slavery. We don't all see eye to eye on everything, and that's the glorious of Allah. We all, as a nation of people, name the part of God that we see. But irregardless as to our differences, our results and our final embodiment is the same. So until we learn to love differences, we're not going to learn to love the oneness of God. So we got to begin to understand our journey in life. And we got to begin to accept the road, because whether we accept it or not, this road that you're traveling, always be mindful that no one can turn back from. Until next time, find someone to love, be nice to one another, and be kind to each other. Peace.